Sorry. In this way, these investments are investments in the generational wealth many of us seek to create. Luxury goods or investments include high end jewelry, watches, handbags, purses, limited edition shoes, clothing and shoes. Okay. People underestimate and dismiss luxury items as investment options because of their exclusivity and purchase price. The assumption is that they are frivolous purchases that will never appreciate in value. That may or may not be the case. While the price may be steep relative to your financial situation, certain brands yield a higher return over time. You can't make the big plays if you're not willing to take big swings. Thanks to market shifts in the economy, my investment portfolio takes a 25% hit. What am I going to do? Re-strategize and invest in more conservative assets to minimize any more losses. Noting, this is what investing is all about. Wait 6 months before making a decision. Run me what money I have left. I don't have time to lose anymore. For a 5-year investment opportunity with risk reward best aligns for a 5-year investment opportunity, which risk reward outlook best aligns with your investment vision to meet my medium term goals. Gain of 25%. Okay. That is, what is that? Questions pertaining to the previous section. Oh, it's asking about risk tolerance. Okay, so that section is about risk tolerance when investing. Alright. So I'm going to read that real quick, and that'll probably be the core modality of thought when you think about investing in something. You're going to analyze it, see if it's good, right? Look at American politics. You're going to look at American industry. You're going to look at the labor force and all these different things. If you're going to do it big boy style, and these are going to determine the current conditions of the market, your 6-month projections, your 1 year projections. And you're going to have, an outlier strategy. Okay, best possible scenario, worst possible scenario, and fill in the gaps between. You can, and when doing it, you're going to keep reviewing this plan and updating it as you go. Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring, so it's always going to change. But the direction, the destination's not changing, just the pathway, how we're getting there. All right, risk tolerance. A conservative risk tolerance is for those who are interested mainly in experiencing no loss with their investment. Investors at this level sacrifice higher yields and returns if it means taking little to no risk. Bonds and CDs are the most common investment at this level. A conservative investment portfolio will most likely consist of 20% stocks, 50% bonds, and 30% cash. An investment risk tolerance level is for those who are willing to make precarious investments. While these investments have the ability to yield a higher return over time, they are more likely to lose value in money. In the meantime, stocks and real estate are the most common investment at this level. An aggressive investment portfolio will most likely consist of 50% stocks and 50% real estate. A modern risk tolerance level has its feet squarely in the conservative and aggressive camps. Investments at this level want the opportunity to experience the benefit of high yield. Investors at this level want the opportunity to experience the benefit of high-yield investments while also including low-risk ones. Stocks and bonds are the most common investments at this level. A modern risk investment portfolio will most likely consist of 30% stocks, 30% bonds, 15% cash, 15% real estate, or business equity. Having a low risk tolerance doesn't mean that you're not a serious investor, and it simply means that your current conditions make it more favorable for you to enter into the investment waters as slowly as possible. With smaller investments, at the end of the day, it's best to operate at a level that's fully aligned with your investment vision and capacity. If you don't, you will be cutting off your portfolio's maximum. If you're okay with that, fine. But truthfully, we don't want you to be okay with that. We want you to generate wealth. You also need to know the expenses associated with each potential investment. This is much different from determining your risk tolerance. Expenses can include registration, transaction, and management fees, maintenance costs, commissions, and spreads. You will also need to know the tax liabilities and implications associated with your potential investments, including income, withholding, capital gains, and taxes. Any optimal investment will minimize your costs and taxes and maximize your after tax return. So you say playing that thing from the beginning to the end. You put it in. What's it look like putting it in? And what's the strategy for taking it out? You know what I'm saying? You got a strategy going in and you got a strategy for coming out. If you're already investing and are considering enlarging your investment portfolio, we recommend sitting down with your financial advisor to reassess your risk tolerance. Just because you're currently faring what that's weird. Just because you're currently faring well doesn't mean that increasing your investment without strategic guidance is wise. For instance, it's less likely that Gary and Morgan Williams will be considered to have a higher risk tolerance right now, given that they've got a kid about to head off to college. The investment strategy will be aggressive considering their current financial situation, but it will reflect the fact that their capacity to take on a higher risk is mitigated by other more important factors. Or take Henry, who's 60 years old, nearing retirement. What he's put into the system will barely cover his expenses, and he needs to work pretty fast to make things shake. His investment portfolio should be more conservative leaning, focusing on bonds, dividends, stocks, and annuities for guaranteed income. This investment portfolio looks completely different from that of his 25-year-old granddaughter, Jada, a law school student with a higher risk tolerance. Jada's investment relies heavily on equities and growth-focused ETFs, as she's been saving her stipends to purchase her first investment property. Henry and Jada have different goals and different circumstances. Their investment portfolios reflect what their ultimate goals are and what's necessary to meet them. The next steps. Now that we've explained what investments are and how you can examine your current financial situation to get started investing, to make some adjustments to the way you're investing now, we're going to dive more into the risk associated with investing and offer you an earn your leisure investment blueprint, or take on an asset allocation strategy that's worked well for the members in our community. We know we just gave you a lot of information, and if you need to take time to process it all, take it. If you need to read this chapter again before moving ahead, well, feel free to do so. It's your book and it's your book and it's your future. For so long, we haven't had access to this information in a way that will make investing possible for all of us. We want you to do whatever you need to do to understand investing, because once you do, wealth building strategies will become your best friends. All right. So there you go. You deserve to be rich. Master the inner game of wealth and claim your future. Rashad, Bilal, and Troy Millings. co-creator on your leaves. We just broke down the whole game for y'all right there. You're super interested, go support those guys, get their book. Shout out to my uncle Gary for letting me borrow his. Appreciate it. Yeah. Hope it wasn't too bad for y'all. No, we stumbled through it.